Go on YouTube, search Keller Williams Peace Room
I'm on
Partners.
our page, I just can't. Oh, right here, it says play, it popped up. Whoops.
No breaking stuff.
If you folks would all subscribe, we can't change or customize our channel name until we have 100 subscribers.
Am I subscribed?
Which is super annoying for me.
I have like
because
5 accounts.
Right now our YouTube name is like our YouTube name is like XY1793.
We'll just keep making accounts until we get it, right?
Yeah.
How many email addresses do I have?
Yeah, I know.
For all those free trials?
Yeah.
At least 20.
Hey, Bill,
No, it's the Logitech.
and you caused all kinds of trouble this morning. No, did you
always
just
cause all kinds of trouble.
Probably you just did
Yeah, mine was like 30.
Sponsored Brett's.
A little bit. I responded to Brett's real quick, so.
You're clean, you're good.
I'm feeling better about it.
We got you hooked up.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet with him, I think, really.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. Bill, right?
We are live, by the way. So you guys-
Oh.
I should probably give people a heads up. I gotta work on that.
Oh, do the hair thing.
Action.
Do the hair thing. There you go.
Let me see if I can find it on my Amazon account.
Am I playing?
What's that?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, yeah, Friday night. That's my
Get
only,
there, get
that's
out.
my only downtime.
I know.
A couple of hours of screaming like, baby.
Yeah, it would scare me, right? I spilled my drink all over myself.
If last week, I had a special by myself, I spent about 2 or 3, and I almost hit
Yeah,
that.
I'm talking to him.
Yeah, you hit that when I was there.
Yeah.
Bingo!
Well, I guess I'm gonna get
Yeah, that's how you
started.
yell it. There's other people there.
Bingo!
Really? I don't hear you.
We had an appointment for 4 o'clock and it's 4 o'clock.
It is 4 o'clock. Thank you, guys.
Nice
Thank
job.
you.
That's how we should start all
I
of them.
got it. So before I leave, yeah. Oh, by the way, before I get started, if anybody wants a ticket for Fasani's before I leave, I've got them with me.
Who?
I got yours.
Are you going? You going?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
And don't forget to sign in for Sarah. The sign-in sheet's cruising around.
Thank
Okay.
you. All right, well, let's.
I've been going to the Fasani's.
So let's get started, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. So today we're doing the ultimate customer experience with me, and I want to tell you I'm really nervous, but so bear with me. What I thought would be really good, so I did some slides. We're going to go through that, and then I'll kind of talk about everything, and then at the end we'll do a question and answer. You guys can ask me anything, whether it's related to this or anything else. So we'll just kind of go through that. I talk really fast. I'm going to try to slow it down. So this isn't over in 10 minutes. So just kind of a little bit about me. Oh, it looks weird there. But anyways, I've been a full-time realtor since 2016. So
Wait. Do that pose.
this one?
Yeah.
That
Another
one?
one in the picture.
That's a power pose.
She's gotta go down to the side.
Let's float.
Yeah, right?
If you don't have a power pose picture you're using for marketing, you're not really a realtor. Just FYI. That's just tip
I
one.
may use that one.
I don't think that one's
I'm
gonna
gonna
go.
use it, but I don't know what to say.
Come on, David, let's see your power.
It is actual size too.
Shut the camera off.
I know.
Do it on short people.
This is garbage. So, anyways, so I started off, actually I started with Keller Williams in October of 2015, but I started on as like an inside sales associate and then went up to, January 1st, 2016 is when I went full-fledged, full-time. Buyer agent, I worked for a team for my first year. So since 2016 though, I've helped over 100 families buy or sell homes. And this year alone, I'm telling you this because that's kind of the foundation of this class. 90% of my clients in 2019 so far have been recommendation or from past clients or referrals.
Wow.
So that means no cold calling, anything like that. They purely have come from my past clients. So the whole point of me telling you that is, well, how do we get there? Because as realtors, that's what we want, right? We don't want to have to spin our wheels, hit the payment too hard. We want to make our clients so happy and so excited to work with us that they can't wait to work with us again. And the moment they think of real estate, they're thinking about us. So they're referring us to the world. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So what does customer service mean? Obviously, I'm going to read this to you. So customer service means going above and beyond to keep your customer happy, whether that means answering any questions they have, resolving issues with a positive attitude. Customer satisfaction is the top priority and the goal in creating loyal, returning customers for life. So that's what you should have in your mind when you're working in this industry, a service heart. That's what we're looking for. I know everyone says, well, I want to help people and I like to look at houses. That's, why people want to become realtors. It's so much more than that. Buying and selling a home will be one of the most stressful things and the most expensive things any of our clients will ever do in their lives. They're trusting us to guide them through that process. So we need to come to them with kindness, caring, patience, and also a professional knowledge of what we're doing. So that's why it's really important to come to the table having all of those things, you know, to offer them. I love quotes, by the way, you're gonna see a bunch of them. So this one, and this is one of my favorites in life, but it's true. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Our clients are choosing us. They don't have to work with us. You throw a stone, you're gonna hit at least 20 realtors, and they're gonna know half of those people. Why are they working with you? That's a huge, huge benefit to you. That's an honor. And so what we need to do is really make them feel how they're making us feel. Be honored that you get to work with them and grateful. And you want to make them feel like they're special because they are. So the foundation of our business is service. The ultimate goal, as we talked about for any realtor, is to create a loyal following of past clients who become your biggest cheerleaders, biggest supporters, your biggest referral partners. These clients trust you with their colleagues, their family, their friends, and again, when they think of real estate, they always think of you. I want that to be your mantra. If you kind of just started, or even if you haven't and you want to start building that loyalty. When I first started, my goal was, I don't care if I haven't talked to these people in a year, 2 years, 3 years, I want them to think of me when they think of real estate. And in the next class I'm going to teach in October, I'll show you how I use social media to accomplish that goal. But there's ways that you're not in their face all the time, you're not being too aggressive. There's a passive-aggressive way to be that person to them that they're always going to think of you. And of course, if you've done business with them, it's the service you're going to provide that they're never going to forget you. They're always going to think of you. The overall experience. So,
some bling on that.
yeah. So communication, I cannot, you're going to see this in almost every single one of my slides because it's so simple, but it is the most important thing, and a lot of people don't do it properly. What's the right way to communicate? Well, that's up to you and your client. You need to talk that out, and you need to figure out what's the proper way to communicate. What is important to them? What do they want to know? How often do they need to know it? And then do it. I can't tell you how often, and I do the same thing. If I don't know what's going on, and I'm guessing, I'm assuming what's happening, I'm assuming it's the worst case scenario. So if I'm in a transaction, right, and I haven't heard from my listing agent in a while, nobody wants my house, I'm not going to sell, I'm going to foreclose, everything in the world is wrong, and then who becomes the scapegoat, who becomes the person that's the problem? The realtor. So you need to be in front of that imagination. You want to make sure they understand what's going on, and the same with your buyers. Be in front of them at all times. Be ready to answer their questions, but more importantly, don't let them sit there and guess of what's happening, okay? They need to know. And then listen and seek to understand. We hear this all the time. We need to know why they're buying, why are they selling, what is important to them, and then dig deep and ask those multi-level questions. What does this mean to you? Why are you moving here? You know, you need to get to the meat of it. What's the nucleus of their decision making? Why are they doing this? And then you always want to bring them back to that. And that's what you always have to keep in mind when you're doing your job, because that's why you're working for them. Keep that big picture in the forefront at all times. Understand and navigate different personalities. So I love the class I took, gosh, right when it was a few months after I started actually, the language of real estate. It was a really awesome class, and it really talked about the different personalities. Do they do the disc testing still? So if you've never done that, you should. It's like a personality
I
test.
took mine, right? Did you get my results?
It's not about you.
Yeah.
All right, Mom.
Just kidding.
Now that's some team leadership there.
You know this is all on camera, right? We're getting this on film. But if you haven't taken it, what the DISC test is basically a personality test. And it's super important for you to take it and then study it. And if you get an opportunity to take that language of real estate, because it really helps you hone in on your clients and their personality types. So, for instance, I'm a high I, which is big person, you know, it likes to be around people, animated, that sort of thing. When let's say I'm looking at a house, I'm looking for what the vibe is. Is this cute? How does this make me feel? Now, if I think it would be a high C. They're more like an engineered analytical type. They want to know all the specs of the house. They need to know black and white, what are the details. They don't give a crap about the vibe. They don't. So you need to know that so you know how to work with your clients. It's very important that you're able to do that, and I'm telling you that's the key.
Where do you take this test at?
David.
I think
Team leader.
you have to get
I
one
can't
day.
believe you are.
Mr. Team Leader, you never said that to me.
Yeah, no, it should say, actually, if you open it up,
Yeah, I did do that.
it'll, yeah, it should show you. Actually, you know what, we'll look at it after class and I'll show you, but, yes, sir,
Can I make a comment or ask a
Absolutely.
question?
of course.
The communication thing is something I struggle with because,
Yeah.
believe it or not, I'm an introvert in the
Really?
extrovert's clothes. And I hate talking to people on the phone. When the phone rings, I get an anxiety attack.
Oh,
It's really, and it's a struggle for me. And I know some of my clients definitely want more communication.
Of course.
And some of them are absolutely right. I probably didn't communicate with them enough.
Mhm.
Other clients are so demanding of communication that it becomes ridiculous. And a lot of, we'll take this class which tells us to communicate. Then we'll take another class and they'll tell you, you gotta set boundaries because you gotta be out there hitting the bushes for new people. Forget about the other. So
There's
how do you strike that balance and figure out,
You have to have a balance. You're
Yeah.
right. You're absolutely right because you do have those demanding clients and they want your time all day long. But those are the people you definitely have to be the strongest with. I'm going to communicate with you. Let's find a common ground. And that's when you start asking those deep questions. How often do you want me to communicate with you? Every single day. Well, Mr. Seller, I appreciate that and I value that's what you want to do. However, let's compromise. I'll check in with you twice a week, Mondays and Fridays, and I'll have a full synopsis of what's going on with your house. Would that be okay? And if you don't want to talk to them, a lot of times people that are that particular, they like it black and white anyways. You say, I'll do an email. If you have any questions, just give me a call and we'll chat it out. That's kind of what I would do. Just try to have that compromise.
That's that needs analysis conversation.
Yeah,
set
I had one of those,
expectations.
I had to kind of like put a,
You have to.
you know, because it was like, he was calling me literally every other day.
Yeah.
And it wasn't normal times. It
Yeah.
was like 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and he's texting me. I'm like, I had to get to the point and say to him, Dave, I understand you want your answers, but I'm not gonna answer the phone at 11 o'clock at night,
No, you shouldn't expect that either.
you know?
Maybe get a crush on
Because,
that.
well, he did actually. That's what I found out.
There
He
you
did.
go. Well, there you
He
go.
did, and I had to put that, like,
Yeah.
to that, you know,
pick up the
I
phone
said, I
and
have a husband, I'm happy married.
Dave?
You got my seller test? Okay, but, you know.
Yeah, he got to that point where he just wanted to talk and just baloney crap, and I'm
Well,
like,
the thing too is that I always feel like, and I don't know where this comes from, but when somebody calls me, I feel like I have to have answers for them. And sometimes there's nothing new.
And that's okay to say. And just say, you know what, I'm glad you called. There's actually no new information I have for you. As soon as I do, when I call you on Friday, I'll see what we have. I mean, and that's an answer too. Not, I don't know, but I just don't have any new information for you. Everything's going great. Everything's lovely. How the kids? You know, try to, you want to be, happy, and just, oh, God, I'm so glad that you called. I was just thinking about you. Just,
Yeah, really.
I'm
really thinking about you.
Saw your name.
It just dawned on me that you were calling.
Isn't that funny? I was just dialing your number.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go.
You must
So-
be psychic.
I do that a lot, all the time.
So they just want to hear from you. And and as far as the expectations, and I'm also going to get to that soon here, actually, in a second. But actually, we'll just go right to it because I was the queen of whenever you call me, whenever you text me, whenever you need me, I'll be there. And it was really making me sick. It legitimately made me sick. I was so stressed out all the time. My husband's like, are you seriously answering an email at 2 in the morning? Wasn't sleeping. It's not healthy. You're not doing anybody any favors. You're not doing your clients favors, yourself, your family. The boundaries have to be set. And if your clients cannot adhere to your boundaries, then we need to move on. There's no deal that's worth your time or your health. So what I do now, and I'm very clear, my clients know from day one, after 7:30, you don't get me. You can leave me a message or a text or an email, and I'll get back to you the next business day. Nobody has had a problem with that. I've had nobody walk away from me because they value their time too. If you don't tell them no, they're just going to come at you. But we all have to change our mindset too. What we do is extraordinarily important, and our clients are extraordinarily important, but we are not doctors. We do not need to be on call 24/7. No one is going to die if they don't get a response from us. And truthfully, at 7:30 at night and beyond, nothing's open anyway. What are we going to do except help them concoct and weave this crazy, And if they're abnormally high strung, I have one client, you know, she's a lot like me. If you don't get back to her, she's assuming everything's going to hell. Hey, I saw that you called, everything is fine, I'll talk to you in the morning. Have a good night. You know, just touch, you know, and that's okay. But don't get into it. You've got to set it. And my voicemail says that, you know, I think I just mentioned that. But just be real clear, and it's for yourself. You can't, you know, you're just going to run yourself ragged. It's not worth it. So then deliver on all promises. So then you say, I'm going to call you the next business. I'll call you in the morning before 10. You better call them before 10, period. You say you're going to do something, do it. Now, I'm not saying I do that all the time, because I'll be like, oh, crap, I forgot to call. So, but that's okay. Then you call, I apologize. I meant to call you. I got tied up, whatever. But when you say you're going to do something, do it, because the consumer, the general consumer, has a natural thought process about realtors that we're all out for the money and for ourselves, and we don't care about them. So it's our job to change their minds. It really is, because I get it. You know, we're almost in the same line as used car salesmen, and not that there's anything wrong with that. My dad sells cars, so you know, nothing wrong with that. But they need to feel, they need to get that different level from us. Deliver on your promises. And then, so then we go back to make your clients feel special, no matter how many people you're working with or how busy you are. When you talk to them, when you deal with them, they have to know that you care about them, because you should. I mean, we really should. I mean, they're paying you a lot of money to do work for them, and very important work for them. So let them know that you appreciate them, you care for them, and you genuinely are there for their best interests. That's going to take, you know, that's your personality, however that comes across for you. I mean, you don't have to be mushy, I love you and I care for you. That's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Just be kind and handle them with care. And then change your mindset. As we know, everything is mindset, right? So come into this, like I said, with a service mind and a caring mind, and it'll be amazing how your business changes. So, and your clients pick up on that. If you have ill intentions, or you're just out there for the money, I mean, no one's working for free, obviously. We're all out here to make our bills and all that good stuff. But they can feel, you know, that desperation. If I got to get another deal on the board, or, you know, I'm just here for you. They can feel that. You know, it's true. So if you aren't already in the mindset to be helpful in the service, it's time to consider changing that. Instead of thinking in terms of sales by volume, and I think the Desrosiers do this too, think of it as how many families have you helped? How many families do I want to help this year? When you flip that, it's amazing, and it actually feels better to you too. You don't feel so panicky, and you feel like, I'm going to make this money. How many people am I helping? It feels just so much better. For me, it does at least. So, and then of course, what can I do to make this process smooth and less stressful for these people? That's the kind of mindset you want to have, because that's what we're here for. Oh, another quote. Just having satisfied customers isn't good enough anymore. If you really want a booming business, you have to create raving fans. And that's the truth.
Who's ever read the book? Just two of us?
Yeah, I just got the quote on Google. Where's the quote? No, is that a good one?
It's a great, excellent book.
What
Great
is it?
book. Well, the story is set in Walt Disney, right? Yeah. If anybody's been to had the Disney experience, it's been great, right?
Oh yeah.
And many of these families come back year after year after year after year. They're raving fans, you know. And quite honestly, I don't know if you know anybody that's ever worked for Disney. Weren't you Tinkerbell one year?
Only in my heart.
Okay.
Only on Saturdays.
But the detail that they go through and go to is just to create raving fans.
Yeah.
The memories they can create. You know, and it's funny you
I
said
have the
that.
Disney, the whole CD videos
Oh yeah?
of the underground, where they live and how they
Behind
live.
the scenes
it is
stuff.
behind the scenes,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, we went in June, and I actually was sitting back and I was watching the cast members, what they call them, right, the employees, and how they interacted with all these people. I mean, and there was this lady who was a total raving lunatic. She was so mad about something. Who knows? There's always one. They were so loving and caring to this woman when most people probably would have body slammed her and like had like security remove her. No, they were just so wonderful to her. And I said, you know what? I go, they appreciate the fact that all these families, how expensive it is to come here, first of all. That most of these families have saved up probably all year just to show up. They're spending their one vacation a year here. They get it, and you can feel that they understand that. That's what I'm talking about. It's understanding, and we're obviously not cast members at Disney, but it's the same kind of thing. You know, people have been saving up all their lives sometimes. You know, let's say, you know, people, and I know a lot of us hold their retirees buying another home. Yeah, but that represents like 50 years of hard work. They've been saving up for that long to come to Florida. Let's give that respect, you know? I mean, I know we all do that, but sometimes you need that reminder because you get jaded, you know? You get these people that are a real pain in the butt and you're like, oh, but then you have to remember, wait, you know, this means something much more. They're just stressed out. How can I make this better for them? So let's talk about the seller. Seller and the buyer are two animals. Everybody knows that, but they have a lot of common ground here. So the seller, oh, what's the first one? Communicate, because it's huge. So when you go to a listing appointment of something that's expired or that was withdrawn or for sale by owner, anybody that's had a bad experience about real estate or with a realtor, what is the first thing they say? Never knew what was going on. My realtor never communicated with me. That's got to stop because, as I told you, they're imagining the worst case scenario. So you've got to dig deep into this. So let's say you're on a listing appointment, you have a seller that says that. Why were you unhappy with that realtor? Beyond that they didn't communicate with you, what did that look like to you? What kind of communication did they give to you when they did communicate? What would you prefer they do? That's a little bit different. And then swoop in and become the hero because you need to change their mind again. And you can do it. You just have to understand what the problem is and then fix it. And you can do that. And then understand who you're working with. Again, a lot of the stuff you're going to hear, it sounds like I'm repeating myself because it's fundamentals and it's important. Understand who you're working with. Take that DISC test. Understand how the personalities are. And I'm telling you, after a while, you're going to pick up the phone and start talking to somebody, you won't even know them. You're going to, oh, this is a high D. And you're going to know how to deal with them. So for me, high C's and the high D's are a little tricky for me to work with because I'm a high I and a high S. So I'm like, everything's, you know, awesome.
Rainbows and rose petals.
Exactly. And so they're like, yeah, we don't care what's the details tonight. So I have to really work harder for those kind of people for us to gel. And that's okay, but I know that in advance. So I know where my weakness is with their strengths. So find out what that is. And a good trick, so you haven't taken the class yet, you're still kind of getting to figure out how that works. Good trick is to ask them what they've done for a living or what they do for a living, what their hobbies are. You can really tell pretty quick. You know, if you're dealing with like a school teacher or like a nurse or, you know, you can kind of get an idea of what they were into, what they're passionate about, and then how you're going to be able to properly communicate and work with them.
And actually, if you're in their house, you can tell sometimes from the way it's furnished or,
Yes.
you know, the engineer might have the labels on its light switches.
Yes.
Oh, God, yeah.
Those people I'm always like,
I see so many of
I didn't
those.
bring a CNN.
You're too organized for me. You're too organized for me. I said, this is just not my house.
If a realtor came into my house with a cute dog, I'd be like, oh, you're hired.
Yeah, me too.
Right? Okay, so then of course, understanding your seller's motivation. Again, I've repeated this 100 times. You're going to see it in the buyer slide because we have to know what the motivation is so we can properly assist these people. So what I found, I mean, we're the retirement capital of the world here. A lot of our sellers sometimes are going to be the elderly that are moving on. They're downsizing so they cannot live in a bigger home anymore. Or I found a lot this year are families that are selling the home of a deceased loved one. We need to know this stuff. Obviously you will, and then that's how you handle that situation, right? So we're going to be a lot more sensitive to those people. This is a very tricky thing, or if they're getting a divorce. I mean, you got to know this stuff.
You know, and if you get those people, especially that are selling because of a deceased loved one, if they're not familiar with the area, that's usually their biggest fear is they don't know the market.
Absolutely.
So if you go, hey, gee, I'm really sorry to hear about the death of your family. I want you to know that we'll be very careful to let you know what the market's doing here so you're comfortable with money. That's exactly what
They want it. You know what? And a lot of these people, it's thrown in their lap, and they're like, I don't know even where to start, what to do. And they so appreciate a realtor that's like, you know what? I just want you to sit back. We'll take care of everything, and we'll just keep you informed. That's what they want because not only are they grieving that loss, but now they're having to deal with the business of selling the house. It's too much. So that's where you can come in and just help use that motivation to really save the day. And then of course too, you know, your seller's motivation, they're upgrading, maybe buying, building, bringing a house, they've been living in like an entry level. It's so exciting, you know. Keep that energy up for them, especially when it gets stressful, because it will. Every deal there's gonna be something stressful. I mean, even the most smoothest one, there's one little hiccup. Mark my words. So, and then, okay, let's go back to our expectations. Be strong and set clear expectations. I'm sorry, John. Oh, I'm sorry. when you're gonna follow up, like we talked about, be clear, this is when I'm gonna follow up, and then make sure you're following up at that day. What you're planning on, how many open houses you wanna do, broker opens. Sometimes those, just to be, completely transparent, I kind of wing it. I wanna see how things are going. If I know I'm in a hot neighborhood, it's gonna probably sell in like a week, then, and then also too, depends on the situation. If I'm dealing with a vacant home, I'm definitely gonna be doing open houses. If I'm dealing with a owner-occupied home, straight up honest with them. I cannot vet everybody that comes in, it's up to you. Especially if they have kids and stuff, I let them make the call if they want to have open houses. So, but make sure you have that, and if you do decide to do it, give them a plan. Who you're marketing to, they want to know this stuff. They want to know what your marketing plan is. It doesn't have to be massive and elaborate and thousands of dollars, it just has to be thoughtful and creative and focusing on the best parts of their home. And then they want to know why and how with the marketing. And then set the stage of how you will be communicating with them and how the process will work. And then again, I can't say it enough, stick to it and do what you say. But if you miss a day because you got busy, it's not the end of the world. You just apologize and then you just get back on track. Now stay positive. I cannot stress this enough. I will be sometimes in my office going, call my client, hey, how's it going? We got it figured out. But there's situations we can't control, but we can always control how we respond. Never, ever, ever feed into the client's anxiety or their anger or their frustration. You don't share that.
Or the other agents.
Or the other agents, exactly. You are the calm in the storm, you are Switzerland, you are Zen, okay? And a lot of times with all these problems and these problems that come up, it's how you present them to your buyer or your seller that makes all the difference. Oh, you're never gonna believe what happened, then it's the worst thing in the world. But if you do it in the proper way, oh yeah, it's not so bad, okay, let's do it that way, right? So you're here to be the calm in the storm, make the process fun, exciting, and above all, again, don't feed into the drama. Don't do it. Never let them see you sweat, and always come to them with a solution to the problem. Before you call them with the problem, find out what that solution is going to be first. And if you're not 100% sure, you got to get to them right away to say, hey, we got an issue, I'm working on a solution, I just want to let you know what's going on, I'll get back to you as soon as I know something. That's all they want. That's all they want. They don't want to have to deal with it, they want you to do it. And remember, there's always a solution. And sometimes that solution is the deal cancels, right? And that's reality. And sometimes that's what's best for your client, and that's okay. So, the next, be excited about their home no matter what. So I don't know about you guys, but I've been in some listings of mine and I'm like, what am I doing here? What is this? What is this? But there's always something in that home that you can fall in love with, and every single house, and it shows in your marketing. So even if it's, oh, I love this fireplace, but the rest of the house is falling down around, all around me, focus on that. So, there's always the pause.
My first listing.
So everyone's got one, right?
Funny, because I
It
was
was a hoarder
just
house.
I just got an appointment this afternoon.
Plenty of storage, right?
I went to see this house, and I walked in and I'm like, I brought the contractor with me to look at the repairs, and I go into the one room over there and I'm like, oh, looks like maybe some termites. Clearly see it, termites, I said, this house is gonna need some work. However, when I go into the kitchen, there's like this nice cabinet. I said, I really love this cabinet.
This cabinet's here.
It's funny you said that because that's just happened today.
I love this cabinet. Can we get it out of here before the termites eat it?
All marketing photos, yeah. This is gonna be that
Funny you
cabinet.
said that, yeah.
But it's true. I mean, and that's what you're looking for, the bright side, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna remain positive and optimistic, and every house is gonna sell one way or the other.
Yeah.
Let's find the thing. And here's the best part about that. So your seller sees that.
Yeah.
They see that you're taking the time to really invest your feelings into their home. Because remember, if you're selling a home, you've lived in there 20 years, right? Okay, you raised your children in it, etc., and it's time to sell. There's more to that house than a bedroom count and square footage to that seller. It's built literally with 20 years of memories. And we have to remember that. It's just, I mean, I know, and I don't mean to make this sound callous, but it's not, not another transaction for us. It is, but it's so much more.
For them, yeah.
So much more to them. So grab that understanding and convey that to your sellers. And I always do. I love this. You go over the top with it. Some of them are like, all right, take it easy, but are you going to buy it? You love it so much. But, it really does help with your marketing too, trust me. And then of course, goes without saying, know your contracts. Our customers are relying on us to know what we're doing, obviously. You're not their attorney, you're not giving them legal advice, but they expect you to be 100% knowledgeable of the documents you're working with. You're there to help them navigate through this process. Oh, another quote. A happy customer will tell 5 people about your services, and an unhappy one will tell 15. I didn't know who it was, so I just put some guy. I couldn't find
Some guy. He wrote a good book too.
Oh, okay, sorry, I can credit next one. So let's talk about the buyer. Do not assume. I think a lot of it's because we're doing this on a daily basis, we just assume our clients know exactly what the process is. No, I don't care how many houses they've bought in the past 30 years. You're not doing it every day. It's almost like having a baby, the trauma you just block out, right?
Yeah.
They forget what happened. So, and it changes all the time, right? So never assume your buyer understands what's happening, because they likely don't. Even if they say they do, they don't. Take the time to sit down and explain the buying process, how it works. Always have a buyer consultation, and then continuously remind them of the steps. So what I like to do once we get under contract, I send them the contract, and then I outline the time-sensitive steps. And then once those are over, I send another email with another time-sensitive steps. And then we talk about it too. So it's sometimes overkill, but my buyers need to know what's going on. Because if they don't, what are they doing? Imagine. They don't want no imagination in these transactions. So, and again, stay positive. I repeat what's important, because you have to be the calm in the storm. Your buyers are a ball of nerves when making this purchase. I always go back to, I honestly bought my first house in 2015, and I was the worst client in the world. I was so obnoxious. I don't even know how Tommy Goff was my realtor. He told me on probably 10 different occasions, stand down, Sarah. And I'm like, all right. I was so anxious. So, but it worked out. But my whole point is that you have to stay positive. Do not ever, under any circumstances, badmouth the other agent or the other party. We don't do that. We analyze the problem, look for a solution, and then get to work. Again, don't ever feed into the drama. Because the moment you start chiming in on the drama, then it justifies how they're feeling, and then forget it. Then you've lost the situation to control. Patience. So we have all had buyers who have a hard time pulling the trigger. And there's a big difference between not being ready to buy and really having no intention of buying. They like the pageantry of looking at homes and things like that, and then just being scared. Most of our buyers are scared. I don't care how many houses they buy, it's tricky, right? I want you to try to learn to decipher that, and unfortunately you have to deal with both sides to be able to kind of see those red flags. And then just be patient with the latter, the ones that are scared. And you gotta be patient with them. The more they know about the process, the less scared they're gonna be. So that's where it comes in. Educate them. Again, if they are scared, it's because they don't understand. And this is the biggest purchase of their lives. Never ever push your buyer to make a decision. You can, if you know another offer is on the table, tell them. If there's another offer on the table, it's up to you. We're not here to sell them anything. We are here to consult them and to advise them. We're not here to high pressure sales. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But in my experience, my clients come back and I've gotten more compliments to the fact they didn't feel pressured. Because I don't. You're not, and my favorite line to say, I'm like, hey, you're not buying a couch on Craigslist, it's a house. What do you want to do? It's your choice. But give them the information, all the information they need so they can make an educated decision, right? Be available. And I know this goes with our expectations here, so stay with me. Your buyers are going to have a million questions. You're going to teach them as much as you can. They're still going to have questions. You're going to answer those and they're going to have 10,000 more. But that's okay. No matter how, and a simple text reply like I talked about does so much more by way of easing their mind. That's all. They just want to hear from you. But you have to set the expectations. They cannot call or text you at 10 p.m. and expect a response. If they know right away, you're going to reduce that opportunity to disappoint them. If they're understanding right away that you're not going to get back to them at 7:30, they contact you at 10. Why didn't you get back to me? I told you, I don't answer my phone. Okay. So they get it. You have to be strong. And then, of course, for the millionth time, communicate. Even a simple email or text before they contact you. Just checking in, still waiting to hear from the listing agent about those repairs. I'll get with you as soon as I hear something. That will literally reduce 10,000 minutes of anxiety for them. Because they're at work, stewing, I wonder what's going to happen, I'm going to lose this house. If you just get back to them real quick, I'm still waiting. Oh, okay, cool. They want to know that. Try to get to them before they get to you. That's my key. or that's my advice on that one. Have an answer, and again, even if the answer is let me research that and get back to you. Never say I don't know. They expect you to know something, even if you have to go look for it. And that's okay. You're a human being, not an Encyclopedia Britannica. And then get to know your buyer, obviously. This is a big relationship. I think a buyer is a lot more, I don't want to say work, but it's a lot more in depth, I think, than a seller. I think you really get to know each other in a different way, and their purchase is a big deal. Again, I really highly recommend, trying to really evaluate the personalities of the people you're talking to. It really is huge. It's huge for your business. Because like I said, they don't care about the vibe if they're an engineer-minded person. They want black and white facts. So when you're going on, go ahead.
The real fun is when you get two completely opposite personality types, and it's just not, they're not gelling.
No,
you're in the middle of it.
You're like bipolar.
Yeah.
Like Felix Sybil. Like,
Yeah.
I know. That's really true.
The wife is in the house going, I love this, let's go
Yeah,
look
the
for
room
it.
there.
The husband's out smoking a cigarette in the driveway.
Yeah, I know. You're like, okay.
I know.
But it's true. So like, let's say I'm dealing with an engineer-minded person. They're really analytical. I'm coming to that showing with the comps, and I'm getting their seller disclosure. I'm getting them the meat of that house. They want it all. They want to know it. So just do that. Oh, and yes, I quoted John Cena, but I like this quote. Okay, sorry, don't judge me. So it is true. No matter how hard you try, you can never please everyone. Follow your heart. Make the most of every day. Be proud of who you are. There are going to be some customers we work with that you cannot make happy, and that's okay. You're not going to gel with them. They're not going to gel with you. It's all right. It's not you. It's nothing wrong with anybody. It just sometimes you don't work with people well.
No matter what you do,
It's always
like,
yours,
all right,
it's not
time
yours,
to
me.
let go.
I know.
I just can't give you that care that you deserve. So I want to talk about that though, because it's important you're able to identify the customers that aren't a good use of your time and might do more damage than good. Because we have to be very careful, because these people that are very impossible to please, the word of mouth is huge for us, right? So that's the whole thing. We're trying to create loyal customers here. If you've got one of those people that you're just literally beating your head against the wall, you have to ask yourself, is this worth it? And what's going to happen if this house doesn't sell? You have to make that call. And it's okay to say no and thanks and move on to the next one. It's all right. I've fired clients before, and there's nothing wrong with it.
And then
Yeah, and you know what? And I felt so much better because I was so stressed out the whole time working with them. I felt I was giving them all my time, and my other clients were not getting my time like they should. And I said, you know what? And it's the way you present it too, like we talked about. I sent them a really nice email that I very much cared for them and I appreciated their business. I just didn't feel that I could give them the time that they deserved. And I gave them some suggestions. You can even refer them if you want to somebody you don't like.
Sarah, that's called karma, because you said yourself you were a horrible home buyer.
I was. I know. And I know. I'm like, oh God, is it over yet? Because it's like, it's been happening. Was I that bad? So why people fire their realtor. I actually Googled this afternoon. So these are kind of the top things. And I like to know what the objections are so that way I can have the other things. So the home isn't selling fast enough. A lot of times we have no control over that. We just don't. I mean, who knows, depending on the market, of course. Inadequate marketing. That comes into talking to your seller, explaining to them what you're doing for marketing. A lot of times they don't know exactly what you're doing, so they don't think you're doing enough. You gotta share it with them, right? Yeah, but I put it on here, the marketing report. What I like to do also is I give them like a little report, and I also say, oh, this is how many views you had on Zillow, this is how many views you've had on Realtor.com, things like that. They want to see it all. And just do like a little report and have a template, and then you yes.
List track does that.
There you go. Did it?
Yeah.
I didn't
You
know
can
that.
send a report.
Oh, is that through?
It's on the on the seller
seller?
board. You just click it, and then you put in it pops up your listing, and you put in their email address and
Does
send it
all?
off. Mhm.
What's it
You can do it
called?
for as many as you want.
Look at that.
List track
I'm going to recreate the wheel.
with this no K. Yeah,
I like that. Okay.
yeah. I have it set up automatically for bi-weekly for all of my lots and weekly for all my regular listings.
See, that's awesome. And you know how many sellers will say they've done it with a realtor before that they've never had that happen before.
Yeah, well, that's what I found was especially with vacant lots is they're like, I don't know what was happening.
No, because
So I send them that, and then I call them once a month, and I'm like, hey, did you get your report?
you're the hero.
Alright.
They'll
a
always
lot,
be
it's
the
not
hero.
like you want to
Just
go
double
there,
bacon.
pick up and go look at it, because you're going to be seeing woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do that with your bacon lots. Cool.
But, and then of course, poor communication. Right? We've been talking about that the whole time. Lack of professionalism. You know, what does that mean to them? I don't know. That's all subjective, I think. You know, I like to be real with who I am, but professional, of course, you know. But then there's some clients I know, you know, you can slip and say a few things that you wouldn't say to this client. You know your audience, right? Know your audience.
Exactly.
It's true. Inability to explain or understand documents. I mean, not for nothing. If I have a realtor coming to me and I say, well, what does this mean in the contract? I'm not sure. You know, okay, let's move on. It's scary, but you want to know. That's what we're here for. When to say no thanks. Unrealistic Karen, overpriced to Oliver, wishy-washy Wilma. I did this really late last night, guys, okay? But it's true. All right. I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to go on to this one. So clients to pass on. I worked with so many clients I should have passed on. It's not even funny. So I'm telling this to you from personal experience, okay? Any customer not take your advice or work with you. You're a team. And this is what I tell my sellers, my buyers all the time. You guys are driving the bus. I'm showing you the map, but we're a team here too. We have to work together. And I need you to trust me. If they don't trust you, they shouldn't be working with you. Because if they don't trust you, they're never going to listen to you, and then nothing good is going to come from that. So it's one thing if they don't want to stage the home, pay for a stager. That's one thing. That's no big deal. But if you're advising that they actually clean the house and it's a hot mess and they won't, you can't make chicken salad out of chicken. You know what I'm saying?
Place we showed you.
You know.
Did you say you can't make chicken salad out of
Out of
chicken?
Chicken, dot, dot, dot.
Oh, God, come on.
I can't say it. I know
missed
my
that
audience.
word.
I'm being
I missed that word too.
Mo said I can't say swear words anymore. And I was like, I didn't sign up for that.
I was like,
Nobody told me that.
Nasty.
Listen, I'll see you next year.
Yeah.
I want to come to your house.
Right? So, I mean, and of course, if they're very strict on showings for no good reason, they're just being difficult or they won't allow showings. I mean, it's like, give me a break, throw me a bone. How am I supposed to sell your house if you aren't working with me? That's where the motivation comes in, because if it's a divorce situation, husband's in the house, wife has already moved, he's being, you know, tough, he doesn't want to sell. You know what I mean? Like, you have to decide if you really want to even get involved. Or a buyer who won't get pre-qualified. Don't get me started on that, and I've done it. I can't even tell you. I didn't want to talk about it.
Or we'll sign an agreement.
Yep, exactly. You have to ask yourself, do I really want to work with these people, right? Or they want to see every single home, whether it's in their price point or not. Yes, sir?
Okay, so with the buyer doesn't want to get qualified, so like I had an investor that is undecided on whether they want to show proof of funds or get the thing from the bank pre-qualified thing. So he's like, I'm undecided. So that would be somebody like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, well, that's cool. I need you to decide. No, obviously be nice and just say, okay,
Yeah,
what do you have available today?
Mm-hmm.
And that way, because I'm gonna need that if you write an offer on anything.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like,
Yep.
the listing owner is gonna want to see the proof of funds.
And just tell them, a lot of people, I mean, I'm not giving my bank statement to somebody who just met either. Just say, I do not want your bank statement. I don't want to see your account number. Just a letter on your bank's letterhead just saying you have funds available to make a purchase is perfectly fine with me. I don't need to know your gory details of your life. A lot of times when you ask for proof of funds, people think that.
I just had that this week. I lost a sale for that because it's one of my current customers actually, and he wanted to buy another investment property. And I looked at the property, and it was one of Yoel's listing. And I called him up. I said, what can you tell me about this condo up? And I looked at it, so I knew information about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was on a Saturday. I could not get the condo, any kind of information from the association.
Sure.
I said, I have to wait until Monday. There's nothing I can do now. But you want to put in your offer, I expect, at least put it in, and you have 3 days to rescind. So it's not going to really hurt you, but I will also need a letter from your bank.
Of course.
He didn't want to provide me with that yet. But I looked Monday. I lost the sale.
Well, then that tells me right there, he probably didn't have it,
Yeah.
right? Because a serious buyer
Yeah.
will have it. They're not going to go, are you kidding me?
Yeah, because like I said, it was from the
From
weekend to
my
Monday.
previous life, when I owned a bar, all my bartenders were always scared of asking people for ID. And one thing I finally realized, which I told them all, and we never got busted for serving anybody underage because of it. There is not a soul on earth who is legally of age who won't show you their license
You kidding
or will
me?
get offended.
I get furious if I don't get ID. I'm like,
The only person who gets offended if you
I
ask
forgot my
for
wallet
ID
is
is
up.
underage. And it's the same thing. The only person who's gonna get offended by you asking them to
Yeah, no, you're
Show
correct.
me
are the
You
people
are.
that,
are
That
the
is
people that
so
can't
true.
prove.
So
Exactly.
true.
There's absolutely
Exactly.
no other reason to get offended.
that's
Right.
absolutely right. That's
No, you're
absolutely right.
right.
And if
That
they
is
say,
100% correct.
So it's like, why are our pants on fire?
yeah, you're just calling them on it, and you know, and then if they say, oh, well, I'm gonna call, I actually had one buyer once, he was coming down to visit for the weekend, and he wanted to look at condos. It was a nice price point, it was super amped, it was when I first started, and very adamant, I said, I need pre-approval. He said he's financing, I need your pre-approval from your bank before you come down, that way we can rock and roll, hit the ground, write an offer, you know, whatever. Yeah, I'll get it tomorrow, and tomorrow, never had it. So then it was the day before his visit to Florida, and I said, if you don't have it tomorrow, I'm not gonna be able to show you these condos, I'm really sorry. And I kept sending him lender info, so it's not like he wouldn't do it. And then, so then the day came where he came in, he called me, and I just had a weird feeling about this guy anyways. Also trust your instincts, I didn't put that on
I
there.
do that.
He goes, I'm at the bar at Harpoon Harris, you wanna meet me here, and then we'll go to Burnstone Meadows, Marina to look at a condo, and I'm like,
No.
I don't think so. He was just looking for a girlfriend for the weekend, and I'm like, well, if you gotta get pre-approval if you want a girlfriend this weekend.
Sarah, what I would also add in there though is, it's to their advantage to provide that information because they'll be able to negotiate that, they'll be in a stronger
Yeah,
position to
absolutely.
negotiate.
Absolutely, right, and Jake, you can use that information too with your investor, you know, if we're up against multiple offers and you've got your pre-approval, you know what I mean, or your proof of funds, you know,
Yeah,
then you've got
yeah.
all your act together, it's
And
likely
if
they
you
might-
send the proof of funds and then they decide to finance, like they still have that option.
Yeah,
So there's no issue with that.
exactly.
And the more you get to your seller, if you're the buyer, I just had one that's getting ready to close, and the package was a 1/2 inch thick.
Yeah.
And I did everything she asked me to do, and there was 2 offers. Mine came in through because I had everything
She
together.
did everything they asked
Yep.
you, exactly, absolutely. Oh, that's a good point, if there's attachments to the offer or to listing, pull them, include them with your offer.
And have the buyer sign them.
Yep, I'm ready to go. So then the next client to pass on is the demands unrealistic pricing. I have taken so many overpriced listings, it's embarrassing. It is so embarrassing. I'll never forget this one I took. It was in downtown Punta Gorda Historic District. I'm like, I don't
I
care.
remember that one.
Oh, I'm sure, because I complained to you about every one of them. I'm like, I didn't care. No, all I cared about was having my sign in downtown Punta Gorda. I was so amped for this listing. She was out of her gourd. She wanted to be, I think it was almost $100,000 over comps.
God.
I know, right? And so, and I did my best. I did everything I could to market this property. I even got cash offers for her at what it should have been listed for. And I'm like, take it. No. And go on this journey. And so I'm a big sucker for a good story. She weaved this story to me. I need you to go on this journey with me. I'm like, let's do it. High that. Go for it. So it was, I'm like, let's go this journey straight to hell. I'm not
Well, people come back from things when somebody says that sentence.
I'll bring the snacks. And so it was a nightmare. And so literally she was so frustrated and angry with me, even though I had told her this is never going to sell for this price. I was so honest. I showed her the number. No. Eventually it expired. She wasn't renewing. Thank God. I can't believe we got to expiration date. She relisted it at the price I told her, and it sold within a day.
Oh.
Right?
You call and go, told you so.
I know.
And then just like,
If I could have stopped crying for 5 seconds, I would have made that call. I was so upset. And I've done it a couple of times, and especially when you're starting off, you're just so excited to get the listing. Now, I'm not telling you to turn down the listings and stuff, you know, maybe I am. But just as you go on with your life, you know, and in your real estate career, it's going to be a lot easier to say, you know what? I appreciate what you want to get for your house. It's a gorgeous home, and I very much value your opinion, but the market is the market. I cannot change that. If you want to change your mind and go with my pricing, let's list it, but otherwise, I don't think I'm going to be the realtor to help you. You're going to save your time, money, and your headache
And then I'll also add to that, because there very well may be an agent that comes in after that will list it for that price
Yeah.
that
There
seller
will be.
wants.
Yep.
And when it sits there for 6 months or a
Yeah,
year,
they're gonna
whatever
come
the
back
case
to you.
may be, and then they come crawling back and say, you were right,
Yeah.
I was wrong, let's list it the way you said, that's when you get the,
The
you know,
trick is
that-
that they
Hero.
go to somebody
Yeah.
else
Hero.
because they don't
Reverse
want to.
psychology.
What's that?
I used to,
They
I actually,
always go
yeah.
to somebody else. 'Cause
I actually
they don't want
ran
to
a-
show you that you were.
Yeah, it's
you were
true.
right.
That is true. Like the tail
Maybe
between
so.
the legs.
I actually ran an advertisement back when I was in production that said David Harry would love to be your number 2 realtor with a picture of a toilet bowl.
I was gonna say, I'm like, that's a little. You could have taken that a couple of ways. But.
Whereas with that, one of two of the things I really liked in bold was the original one in the listing presentation. She says, if I tell you something, it makes you uncomfortable. It's because I'm telling you the truth.
Right.
And I love that sentence because setting that expectation for it. Listen, I'm going to give you the truth whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So that's setting expectations and being realistic with them from the start. It starts with this price doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And then John Prescott in Bold 2.0 said to do the yellow pad thing where you write the price of the overpriced listing, the price that their house should be at, and the one, that's too low, and you circle that one. And when they go, well, I want it to be closer to this price, you just go, I don't see it.
Yeah.
And that's all you say. And it's just leaving it like, no, like that's not going to work. And
Right.
being willing to walk away from that because they will call you back.
They will.
You know.
They value, they
And
respect
a
you.
Yeah.
and a lot of them, they say, well,
You're
the
not
other
just feeding
agent
the
told me
BS.
this.
Right.
Yeah. Or they say, oh, well, I'm just not going to sell it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then you're not going to sell it. That's fine.
Then they were
Yeah.
And in
motivated.
6 months,
Right.
when they are tired of paying for it and not wanting it anymore, they're going to sell it anyways. So.
Exactly. No, that's great. And I did teach 2.0, so I
Yeah.
like that a lot. I'm gonna use that. Because it's true. I mean, it's hard. You don't want to tell anybody, I think I can get 500,000 for my house. Well, how about 250? You never want to give them, and that's an
It's really
uncomfortable
hard, yeah.
conversation.
It's like telling them you're not as good looking as you think you are.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're not the bad guy, you're the messenger. And that's what I always say. I'm like, don't shoot the messenger, but this is what the market says. And then what I also like to say too, I'm like, we can list it for whatever we want. And the buyer can give us whatever they want for it. But if they're financing or if they're cash, they want an appraisal, it's got to appraise. The appraiser's looking at these numbers. So, we don't want this to get stuck dead in its tracks,
And the 2005 boat sailed away.
Yeah, right? So like we have to be, right, we don't want it to be like that ever
I put
again.
them on my list. I'm telling them I can't do it for that price, but I'll put you on my list.
Mhm.
So when the dumb blind guy with all the money comes in the town,
I'll bring them right over.
Nancy Weber almost fell receipt one day when I pulled that listing away.
You actually said that
I
on
like
listing
that a
appointment?
lot.
Did you get the listing?
We didn't want it.
Once you decide to
Well,
buy,
you made
that's
sure that was okay going to happen. Then you certainly got your way.
Amen to that.
And the sort of the funny thing about with all the listing stuff is when you are literally ready, you're packing your stuff up and they're not probably going to sign because of that price. When you start walking through that door, and this has happened to me, they grabbed me and said, "Why are you leaving? I'm going to list." Not at that price, you aren't. I'm
Yeah.
not listing it. I'm not going to be an overpriced listing agent.
Yeah,
And then they come back to reality. Okay, let's do this.
right.
Cool.
Well, and that's a really great technique.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like to say too, I'm not in the business of breaking hearts, so I'm just going to break your heart if we listed this because it's
Yep.
not going to sell.
Absolutely.
So I'm just trying to help you.
And I say that I'd rather you hate me today than 6 months down the road and you're slandering my name.
That's exactly it, because that's the
Yeah.
whole thing, right? The customer service experience. You are the problem if the house doesn't sell. It's not them, it's not the house, it's not the price, it's not the location, it's not the condition, it's not the stack of crap they've got in there that they need to get out. It's you. You're the problem. So that's why really protect your client, your time, because you do not want any bad reviews. Nobody wants 1 star. Nobody wants it. So, and of course, clients pass on. If they ask you to do anything unethical or illegal, that goes without saying. I had a buyer call me and say he doesn't want to live in a particular kind of neighborhood. I'm not going to tell you the word he said. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to help you. And
And they're done now.
and I'm not going to refer him to anybody either. Because, good luck. Good luck, Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard. Not on my watch. So, and then the people that are working with multiple agents.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, buyers, obviously.
Yes.
Because they're selling multiple times.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, what? How many listing agreements do you have in this house? 7, but we're not committed. The buyers, yeah, they're calling every single agent on each house, and you got to get them to commit, buyer broker agreement. If they won't sign it, you're not sharing your time with 7 other agents. You don't have time for that. You're working with people that want to work with you, right? Anyone that's verbally abusive has no respect for your boundaries. I've had one client holler at me, and I think it's because he got in a fight with his wife that morning. He was taking it out on me. I put him in his place right away. He said, I'll cancel that contract. And I go, I will send you the cancellation form. You're not going to talk to me like that. After that, he basically was the sweetest guy ever. Snap, sir. But you don't need to take it. No dollar is worth your respect for yourself, right? I mean, I cannot stress this enough. There's so much business out there. You don't have to deal with that. You're better than that, right? And then learn to recognize these customers and never let your fear of losing a sale guide you. Never let fear or panic guide your business, ever. I don't care if you have 10 bucks in your account. There will be more deals. It will grow. It will happen. Be patient, but use your best judgment.
I was talking to somebody that was relatively new, I think, and they were having some issues and really kind of panicking. And it dawned on me, because I've done it before, where it's like I start to get really worked up, and then I go, wait a minute, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen here? I go to jail. No.
I go to jail. Those things aren't happening.
No, the worst thing that could possibly happen is this deal isn't going to happen.
Right.
And then I'm going to move on to something else. And it's going to, it takes the pressure off.
It really does. It really, really does. And then the more you get into production, you've got other stuff on the board. That one deal that's driving you absolutely crap bonkers cancels. It's not the end of the world. And it feels like the worst day ever when a deal cancels. Anytime I have a deal cancel, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But you know what? It's always for the best. I always try to look for the bright side, whether it was for my, it's never usually for my benefit, but maybe sometimes it is for my client's benefit. And you look at it that way. This just wasn't the house for you, or this, whatever, this wasn't your buyer. So in conclusion, learn to understand the personality of your customers and cater to what they value. Super important. That's the key. Identify customers that are a waste of time. I've got another one I want to tell you real quick. Buyers that were referred to me from a family friend, one of my A+ referral people. They've given me so much business. They sent me these people, are family friends of theirs, red carpet treatment. I must have shown these stinking people 40 stinking houses. Wrote 2 offers, stinking, and then I wrote 2 offers. They canceled for no particular reason. They weren't committed to buying. And because I didn't do my due diligence like I should, I wasn't following my own advice because they were referred to me by somebody very important, they were very important to them, I totally threw all my rules out the window and I just let them drag me all over God's green earth. We went from house to condo to villa to house again, back to a condo. I don't know what I want. Maybe we want to build. So they never bought with me. And then finally I had to tell them, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to help you when you come back down this year. They ended up buying with somebody else. They weren't ready when they were with me, and I would not recognize that. I wouldn't accept that, and I kept letting them drag me around. And then when I was doing my taxes that year, and I was looking at my mileage and all the mileage I did for them, I was like, never again.
Can I ask what year that was?
Yes, it was 2017, so it wasn't long ago.
And that, a lot of the things you're saying that you've been through, I don't know about you guys, but I can say that, I just hit my first year yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I can say that I've lived all of this, and I'm slowly trying to get this mindset, and which is why I'm asking. So since I asked, the other thing I'm curious with that whole setting the boundaries, the 7:30 p.m., so on and so forth, how long did it take you not just to say you were going to do that, but to truthfully actually stick by that? So
it's funny you said that. So this morning at 7:45, I'm checking my email. And my daughter goes, Mommy, you're not supposed to be checking your phone until 9 o'clock. And I said, you're right. And actually, what I did, because I wasn't following my own rule, I had to get myself 2 phones. My fun phone, my work phone. Work phone gets shut off, put in my purse. My purse goes on the counter at 7:30 at night. Don't look at it. Because no matter what I was doing, I was even out in bed, I'm trying to shop on Poshmark. I'm trying to have a peaceful shopping experience. People are messaging me. I'm like, I can't deal with this. I'm trying to buy a shirt. So, or actually what set me over the edge, because you will have clients, you're going to set your boundaries, they're not going to respect them. My daughter's birthday party, we were roller skating. I'm trying to take photos of my kids and all the kids, and I was having a great time, and this one woman was helping one of my sellers do a yard sale. Nothing was 911 emergency. She tried to get in touch with me. I texted her back kindly. It was a Sunday afternoon. I said, I'm with my daughter at a birthday party. I'll get back to you in a couple hours. I was. Within an hour, she's blowing up my phone. Probably 3 or 4 times she called me in the road. I'm trying to take photos on roller skates, and I'm trying to swipe away so I get my photos.
Right.
So then I thought, maybe something happened to my client, because he's a very elderly man, and his family isn't around. So I stepped outside, promised my daughter wasn't going to take calls that afternoon, but I did, because I thought something was wrong. She only wanted to tell me that the shed sold. I lost it. And I'm pretty mellow until I'm not. And I said, this could have waited, or you could have texted me this information. Why are you, and I set my boundaries, she didn't respect my time. So that set me over the edge.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, I just recently started implementing it, and this morning I broke my rule again, but I have to force myself. It's a daily thing because I like to be there for my clients.
Right.
And my problem is though, when I see something come up on my phone, even though it's not in the time frame for me to check, that sense of urgency is so strong, I don't want to not do it.
Completely understand.
So it's a work in process, and I progress, and I do it every day. I have to work hard on it. And
My
it's,
message says if it is an emergency, after hours emergency, text me and I will get back to you.
Yeah.
Emergencies are, it's like the word normal. What is normal?
Well,
right.
Everybody
yes.
defines
well, in my industry, as you know, because I do the property management,
Yeah.
I have hot water heaters blow or air conditioning,
Yeah.
things like that. So I always say after hours, just text me if it's an emergency.
Yep.
Otherwise, leave me a message, I'll get back to it. the next, you
There's a
know.
guy out.
Yeah, my son's birthday party.
I had to do that because like I was getting umpteen calls constantly, 7 days a week.
I know. And I have to decide, like, listen, my kids are only going to be so young for so long. Wait.
There's a guy out in the West Coast named Bruce Hardy.
Mhm.
You probably know who he is, right?
Yes, I do.
So he did our ALC clinic one year.
Oh.
And
He's an
he
awesome.
said he got into a habit of, he'd be making phone calls on his way home, and then inevitably he'd get to the driveway and he'd get out of his car and he's still on the phone as he's walking into the house.
Mhm.
And, if it didn't happen to be a particularly good conversation,
Mhm.
he's walking into his house with his wife and his children, in the middle of a heated conversation. And I guess one day it occurred to him that it wasn't fair to them that he was coming home like that.
The house was empty.
So he started making it over himself. He would never come home.
Yeah, all the stuff's
He would
fine.
never walk into the house on the phone after from that point forward.
Right.
One of the things, and Amanda Bishop does it, I know, and Penny actually taught me to do it, is to set your boundaries, is to make a new message every day and say, I'll be answering calls from A to Z.
Mhm.
All calls after this time will be returned the next business day. That way they're going to hear that, and then you kind of learn to let it go a little more, and you've just told yourself what your boundaries are too on a daily basis. And I think that's really helpful. And it doesn't mean that if you get a call and you think it is important that you can't take it. It just means you can say, "Oh, did you get my message?" You know what I mean? Like, don't feel like you have to. I mean, if somebody wants to close at 9 o'clock, like I'm there. I'm gonna take that email and I'm gonna take that call.
Sure.
But if somebody calls because they were wondering if the dimensions in the garage are really 2-car,
Mhm.
I don't want to talk to you until 9 a.m. the next day.
There's no need for it, and I'll tell you, I was the Pop-Tart queen. Like I said, 2 a.m. I would wake up and start thinking about deals and start looking at
Yeah.
emails and stuff. And then my husband's like, what am I doing this for? What's my why? It's my family. I'm trying to create a life that I want to live with my kids and my husband. And if I'm constantly working or on my phone, I'm not doing any of those things. So what is the point? None of those deals are worth them. Come home to an empty house, because I can't get off my stinking phone. So and my clients have to understand that. And they almost all of them do, except for that one lady. And she got mad at me too. She told the seller, she wasn't very nice to me. And she goes, and the seller told her, she told you she was going to call you back, and you kept blowing up her phone, so she had my back. To your face, Debbie. So, I know, right? Let me roller skate, please. So, and then of course, have a mindset of kindness and caring, and come into each relationship, because that's what these are. These are relationships. These aren't transactions. It's a relationship, and that's how you build lifelong clients, because you're not creating a transaction, you're creating a relationship, and they just love you forever. My biggest A+ referrals are the first people I ever showed a house to. And I don't know what I did, but they just absolutely loved me. And I stayed in contact with them throughout the years. They've referred, I haven't sat down and actually done the work, the numbers, but they've referred me 4 families who've all bought over $200,000 homes. They bought 3 homes for me and then sold 2. So just them alone. Just being kind, caring about them, checking in every now and then being available for them when they needed me, within reason. And they're great people. And so then now all of their friends who like me, they're referring me to their people. So it's great. I'm getting everybody from Ohio. It's great. I love it. And so that's it. So that's my presentation. This is question and answer time. If you have any questions, I didn't talk about something. I'm sure I've missed something, but knock yourselves out. I'm here to answer anything. Yes.
Can you email us the slide?
I can, if you want
Yeah, I was
to.
gonna say, I was like,
Actually, if you
I
can
go
send them
with my
to
mom.
Kelly or Lorelei, they can put them right on the Facebook page. People can take them right from there
There
too.
you
That
go.
way everybody has them.
I can do that.
And everybody sign it.
There you go, yeah, exactly.
Did you put all this together yourself?
I did.
Good job.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Thanks.
I was nervous. But,
Why?
oh,
right.
thanks, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I know it's kind of late, so. But if there's something you think of after the fact, don't ever hesitate to contact me. I'm always here to